Okay, so this is going to be a very quick video. My name's Lavonda, and I'm a mom of 5. I'm a college student, and I am making a video to introduce you to our homeschool room. I looked online and I found several videos that kind of gave a walkthrough so that parents that are just learning how to do homeschool can kind of get some ideas. So this is actually the door to our classroom, and I do like the idea of having a separate room for schooling, simply because if it's in the dining room, we feel like we're in school all the time. So it helps if we have a little bit of a break. So on our door, I've got Read Big, simply because reading is a big part of learning, and if you're going to do anything, it's worth doing well. I also have a bulletin board that's on there for like the rules, and then some doctor's appointments and notes that we have, so that the kids can kind of check to see where we're at. And pardon the noise, my littlest one is actually in the bathtub right now. So here is our classroom. As we walk in, to the left, we've got our contact calendar. Because I am a college student and my oldest is a college student, it helps keep dad up to date and the younger kids on where we're at. So let's get started. This is our, I'm sorry, I can't zoom out, and I hope that the video quality on this is not too bad. I'm using my husband's tablet. This is the primary learning wall. I have a computer for each one of the kids. This is for my 4th grader, KW, and this year he's going to be learning about the parts of the body and especially the organ systems that are in the body. So I went to Dollar Tree and I found a plethora of posters and graphics, and you get 2 in a package for $1, so I loaded up on all those. They also have wall cards, and I cut them in half to get a little more out of them. This chart here, it was $1 at the Dollar Tree. I actually buy a lot of stuff at the Dollar Tree. I cannot stand the thought of spending an outrageous amount of money for things that we need for homeschooling when we can get them for a fraction of the cost. So here's KW's computer and his little homemade dust cloth to kind of protect it. I've got our little cheat sheet for math to kind of let him know when to subtract or divide or add or multiply or things like that. Both my 4th and my 6th grader are going to be doing science experiments this year, a lot of science experiments, and we're going to work on science reports. So I've got this handy chart, again from the Dollar Tree. I've got to move the lamp just a little bit so that you can see the avoid plagiarism rules. I'm a college student and they drill us about avoiding plagiarism, so might as well start young. I've got the rules of divisibility chart. My 6th grader is going to be learning fractions and decimals more intently this year. So we've got that up there as kind of a reminder. We've got some reading comprehension questions, strategies, ways to make connections and to infer and things like that. We have a sample dictionary entry. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet has made us lazy. I want my children to be able to know how to look up a word in the dictionary. Here is my 6th grader's word wall for the first week. I've got a big map of the United States, and again, that was a Dollar Tree buy. I've got styles of writing, good readers' habits, my own little bulletin board that kind of keeps the kids up to date. I'm going to pan back a little bit so you can see that better. The books that are stacked on the left I laminated, and I use it to write the book that we're reading for our read aloud. We did not quite get finished with Island of the Blue Dolphins, so we're going to pick that up and finish that at the beginning of the year. And then we're going to be studying ancient Egypt. And then we've got my whiteboards that I use for instructing. And I don't know if you've checked the blog, but back in the spring, I did, it was late spring or early summer, I created a homemade chalkboard, and I use it for my word wall for new words that are introduced, and they'll write these down in their journal, and they'll write the word, the definition, and they'll use it in a sentence. And then for my pre-kindergartner, we've got her word walls, and I've got them low so that she can interact with them. Here are my filing cabinets. that I use. I bought these at Walmart. You can get them, I believe they were $19 a piece. It's a 2-stack. So I've got 4 drawers total, and then I've got this little Sterilite bin, and then a bin that I use to put collected papers in to go through later. So this is kind of my catch-all, and then I will go through them and sort them and put them into the portfolios. And then we have Mom's teaching area. I have a very small blackboard to kind of let me know what we're going to be learning for the following week. So our first week is just kind of a back to school week. We'll do some things, but for the most part, it's just kind of back to school. The second week is when we're really going to get into our studies. So I have this up here to just kind of help me stay focused on some of the things that I need to be looking ahead to. We've got our Ancient Egypt book. Grabbed that baby at the book sale at our local library for a dime. It's old as Methuselah, but it has excellent photos, it has some excellent reading, and it's great to use for our supplement on our curriculum. I do make our curriculum. I also use an online source for that. My teacher's plan book. I'm going to do another blog later about my plan book and how I plan. And then I've got some binders that I use for access. I've got a small filer for files that I need to grab quickly. Our contact book. And then here is our pre-K's computer. And this is where she will be working. And there's plenty of room here for me to scrounge in and sit beside her to walk her through. Because she is in pre-K, I want her to be aware of her surroundings. So one of those is to become interested in the weather. So we have a weather graph, and we have these excellent little things, graphics that I printed and cut out and laminated so that we can reuse them. They're very small, they're not real large, and they fit in the graph. And at the end of the month, we count up how many days we had rain, sunshine, partly cloudy, whether or not there were storms or if it was windy. And then we put those into an Excel spreadsheet that the older kids use for their when they're learning to graph in math class. And this is kind of like our media center, and that picture right there, that's my great-grandmother, and she joins us every day for homeschool. Our media center has a small TV. I have a Roku attached to it. The History Channel has excellent documentaries and things like that that we can use as a supplement for some of our studies. There's tons of free stations on Roku, so if you get the opportunity to purchase one, we have the original Roku and then we have the Roku 2. Both of them basically work the exact same way. I've not noticed any difference in them except for price. Roku 1 and you're good to go. But if you want the elaborates, I guess you could get, like, I think they got the new streaming stick and the Roku 4. But we're happy with the original. This entertainment center was actually a throwaway, and I grabbed it up, I brought it in, I disinfected it, and it works wonderfully. We have all of our classroom books that we use for different unit studies and things like that. And because the kids are big readers, we have an entire section dedicated to free reading. And we also have a free little library just actually on our blog. And so we're constantly going up there and switching out books that we've read for ones that we have not read. So that's what we use there. We have our filing system that we use daily. This is where I use to keep track of how the kids are doing, what they're working on, how long they're spending on it, if they're having trouble in a certain area, things of that nature. Here is our filing cabinet, or I'm sorry, not the filing cabinet, the trays that we use to put stuff up. Like if, for instance, on Mondays and Tuesdays I have class on campus, so I have to leave the house during the time that I would normally grade papers. So this way, on Mondays and Tuesdays, they can just put them in their trays, and I can grade them when I get home after they've all been tucked in and are ready for bed. So we just have a few other little knickknacks just to kind of make it a little more homey. This is a gigantic calendar. This is my absolute favorite out of all homeschool stuff. I was on a blog one day and I found a free link for all of the stuff for a calendar for the entire year with different elements. There's some that have bluebirds. August, for instance, has a grass and bug theme. And because two of my homeschool kids are boys, I thought that that was suitable. So we have our bugs up for the month of August. And there's Flat Stanley. And so yeah, that's my absolute favorite thing. I put it on a bulletin board that I bought at Walmart for $10. I went to our local community college who has a huge laminator, got it all laminated for a fraction of the cost of what I would use if I used my own personal laminator. So yes, love the calendar. And this is our board jar. Yes, our children get bored sometimes, and so we have a board jar. There's some activities in there to do. There's games for them to do, and occasionally there's a chore or two, because if you're bored, there's always something that can be done. And this little beauty right here is from our very first family vacation to Florida. We went to St. Augustine, and we went to the beach. It was rainy, it was windy, it was 67 degrees, and the water was warm. I was not complaining. And so I helped myself to a little bit of beach sand, and we even dug up some shells. I don't know if you can see those very good or not. But that's our little reminder from our trip in Florida. Because I do have a toddler who is in preschool, I have to keep our supply closet locked. So I'm going to set the tablet down for just a second while I get it unlocked, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it unlocked, and as you can see, it is literally filled to the brim and the door with all kinds of homeschool lovelies. So one idea that I found online was a homeschool mom who was tired of having to have these little bins. And so she was at a retail store, and she found the lovely over-the-door shoe racks. And this would have to probably be my second most favorite thing in the homeschool classroom, because you can store anything in there. I've got my Expo Markers, I've got cards and dice for our rolling games, I've got extra scissors, we've got some money manipulatives, I've got some spare word wall cards, some extra magic markers. These are little bingo daughters for our dot-a-dot worksheets, mostly for pre-K. But I do also have some history games that we use, and those come in real handy with those. Extra glue, pens, pencils, glue sticks, rulers, compasses, compass rose, protractors, just all different sorts of things. We've got our magnifying glasses for when we look at insects, all the way down to extra chargers and adapters and cards and things like that. So in the closet, I haven't really got it too tidy right now, but I've got my cleaning supplies. I have my Folgers EHA Homeschool Fund. So anytime I get extra change, I pop it into that little Folgers bucket. And when we need something, I take some money out of it and I go to the bank and I get bills for it, and then I go to the store. So we've got some folders, we've got some loose leaf paper. The green basket, that's household bills, so we're just gonna ignore that one. And then we have some games, and then in those foldable baskets way up there, it is almost too dark to see, there is some felt pieces for our felt board. There are some craft supplies in there, and there's my little graduation bear from when I first graduated from community college, and there's some items from my college days that I use and refer back to. And then I've got these little plastic bags here full of bulletin board items, window clings and things like that. I've got some extra lap books already made up so that we don't have to take the time to glue those. These stacks here are colored pencils, markers, and regular pencils. Our unit study materials. Last year we did crime scene investigation, so we've got all kinds of crime scene stuff in there, so I'm going to have to get that stored away and get it cleaned up for our next unit study. And then our pre-K box, it's filled with pre-K words, the primer sight words, and blocks, letter blocks and things like that. And then I have my 3rd and 4th grade and my 5th and 6th grade word walls. This is kind of like the mommy part of the pantry or the closet. We've got our math bin that has all different sorts of math manipulatives in it. Walmart had these excellent workbooks on sale last year, so I grabbed a couple of them. I wish I had gotten a kindergarten one. I did get a pre-K, but I did not get a kindergarten one. They were sold out. So my 3rd grader worked a little bit out of the 3rd grade one last year, and we've got plenty planned for the 4th grade this year. Some extra notebooks that I use, some college algebra books and things like that. Some workbooks that I got from the dollar store, and this is our little caddy that we use for that they'll get every morning, and it's got, each one of them has their own cup, because yes, they do fight over pencils and pens and markers and scissors and glue sticks and crayons and markers. So I just grabbed this little caddy at the Dollar Tree. I put a couple of plastic cups in there, and it works really great. They just grab it, they put it on their desk, they work out of it, and at the end of the day they put everything back and they put it away. Some extra folders. This is my cleaning bin and storage bin. I have all different sorts of things in here, from air fresheners to paper plates for projects, Kleenexes, paper towels, crepe paper from my daughter's graduation just a few months ago. These are our craft baskets. Anything crafty, fuzz balls, crazy eyes, yarn, things like that. Popsicle sticks, just kind of a little glance in there. All you can see is the blunt bags though, but there's a lot of stuff in there. This is our art bucket, and we've got lots of paints, finger paints, poster board paints, things like that. This is my bulletin board borders pouch. I keep all of my bulletin board borders in here so that they stay straight and don't get bent. And today, their uncle actually stopped by the Dollar Tree and grabbed a couple of things for me. These are poster boards to go on the bulletin board to kind of give them a nice little background. I've never seen these at our local dollar store, but he found them at the Dollar Tree in Missouri. So he bought those for us. These are extra reading books that we have for pre-K. As she gets a little more advanced in her reading, she can level up. These are all of my extra posters that I have for the wall. I try to switch them out every year so that the kids aren't looking at the same thing. This is my mommy drawer. This is where I keep all of my pens, pencils, extra crayons, Post-its, scratch pads, glue, extra headphones, just all different sorts of things in there, index cards, extra garbage bags, things like that. The second drawer is our printing drawer. We keep all of our extra printer paper in here. I also, whenever I do the kids' report cards, I use these little index cards. I bought these at Walmart a long time ago for a project, and I can't stand to throw anything away. So I held on to them forever, and then I realized that they make the perfect report card. So I use the Microsoft Word to create their report cards, and then I just print them off on these little cards. They're already pre-cut, so it makes really quick and simple time for report cards. And the bottom drawer is all of our extra like legal size paper for projects, construction paper, coloring books. I have a bin here full of crayons for whenever they're wanting to color outside of the classroom. There's learning to draw books, all different sorts of things in this drawer. And this drawer I use for an incentive. So if they get done with all of their schoolwork early, then they are allowed to get something out of the bottom drawer and work with it. Because we promote fire safety, we have Sparky, our little dog, and he reminds us each month to check our smoke alarms, and we have one right up there. So it's getting about time for me to check the last day of this month. I'll check it again to make sure all of our smoke alarms are ready and able to notify us if there happened to be a fire. The back of the doors, just a simple capitalization cheat sheet. Then we've got our cursive, because cursive is a dying art and it needs to be brought back to life. Place value chart, just in case they forget where the numbers go. This is my homemade felt board. Just took a thick poster board from Walmart, some hot glue and some felt, stretched it over it, glued it to the back, sewed a little ribbon on there to allow it to hang. And so now we can do some interactive stories with felt. For our Bible study, we have a map of the biblical locations, and we have again, another chart with cards ready for their memory verses once they get to them. A small, I have to turn it sideways, a small map that shows the entire world for them to go to whenever they're reading and they're not sure where somewhere is outside of the continental U.S. They can go look at it. And then we have our reminder, because even at home they like to get up and get out of their seats. So this is a flow chart that helps them determine whether or not they should be up out of their seat. And then we have our fire safety exit route. We have earthquake safety, and we have tornado safety, because we do live in Tornado Alley. So that's our classroom. I enjoy homeschooling. This is my 3rd year to homeschool. I guess I can turn it around now and show you me. Nothing to look at. But this is our homeschool classroom, and I do hope that you've enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you some ideas. Again, you don't have to have a separate classroom. A lot of homeschool families that I know homeschool wherever they can find comfort. We choose to homeschool in a separate room because it allows us to leave school for the day when we're done. Of course, we never stop learning, but it takes us out of the element of being in the classroom, and that is what helps us. So if you like this video, feel free to share it. Comment if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. My name is LaVonda, and I'm a mom of 5, a wife, and a college graduate and returning college student. I believe that education is the key to anything. So yeah, that's me. Be sure to check out the blog Generation Homeschool at homeschoolme.weebly.com. Have a great day.